We're running late. What are you going to do? At least we're live. We're going here. Yep. Good. Check it in. Check it in. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Welcome back. That's working now. Beautiful. Bring it in. Do all my stuff. Oh my gosh, our guest is here. This is amazing timing. There we go. They're buzzed in. All right. Well, what a wonderful way to start the show this evening. Welcome back. Hello, this is the Late Night Playset. My name is Jay Ryan, and welcome back to it. Out of sorts as usual. What else is new? Got our masks. Holy crow. All right, here we go. Welcome back. Tonight is Thursday, August 13th, 2020. My name is Jay Ryan, as I said just a moment ago. This is the Late Night Playset. Thank you for joining us again. We're doing it live, and our guest, Andrew Florin, this evening, Porsches with UHHS on the Instagram is our guest. We're going to talk all about his new residency. He's a doctor, I should say Dr. Andrew Florin. He's a resident now over at Cedars-Sinai. He's back in town, living in Los Angeles again. And we're going to talk about what it's like with COVID over there, what he's doing, even though that's not his department. He's OBGYN. We're going to talk about cars, Porsches specifically, obviously, for all of the reasons, the nature of this show, and his personal passion, as well as corgis in cars. He and his family have some corgis, and they've taken to doing this they take pictures of their corgis in front of like classic 911s and classic Porsches at car events, and it's become kind of a fun thing to follow. And even Jeff Sword, I think, posted one the other day, which was pretty funny because he's Mr. Cars and Dogs. But I hear him coming in the front door right now. What's up, Andrew Florin? I hope it's you. It is. What's going on, brother? I just turned the button on. We just went live a few seconds ago. I was just introducing you and talking about your cars and corgis and everything else. You can come on in anytime you want.
Thank you so much.
We're very, very informal nowadays.
I'm so sorry for running behind.
Why would you be sorry? Don't be sorry. Oh,
I
no.
respect your time more.
Oh, look at you. You're so smart. I didn't set the camera up for that, but that is a smart thing you just did. I separated the chairs, which I thought would be helpful. And then if that works for you, that's where the camera's set up. But wherever you're comfortable, we've distanced this a bit. Oh, brother, it's good to see you.
You too.
Pull that up to you and make it comfortable. And make sure our shot's okay here. You literally just got out of the car.
I sprinted over here.
How you feeling? Do you want a second to catch your breath? I've got some stuff to do. You want to just hang out while I do it?
I'll chill.
Awesome. All right. This is fun. Got him right here. I'll just tell you, we've got a TBT to do tonight and an ECF. Good old East Coast feed. We haven't checked in with them in a while, and it's not even a new one. It was just sort of we hadn't checked in with them in a while, and they had queued up, and we had one that was from pre-COVID that I never wanted to air just because it's a lunch hour one where there's sort of some lunch hour antics.
Yeah.
And at this point, I feel like all bets are off. Anything goes. People are just blowing off steam. So maybe we'll just do that first. Check in with East Coast Feed, Danbury Chive, Steve Kaz, over at Ridgefield BMW in Ridgefield, Connecticut. Roll it out.
Mr. and Mrs. Ryan, we have Scott, we have Alana, and me. And it's lunchtime on a Friday, because what do we do on lunchtime on a Friday, kids? We have alcoholic beverages, because that's what you have to do in the car business to stay sane, is we have to do this. Scott, you want to get in the picture here? Stay in the frame. It's a production value. Anyway, so say hello to the internet.
Hi,
Hello, Internet.
Internet, everybody else. There you go. Interwebs. This is what we do to keep ourselves occupied because this week has been horrific. The coronavirus is still happening, and everybody and their mother is coming into work because we're an essential business. All right? Alana, got anything to add?
Cheers.
There you go. Cheers, guys. Love you.
That's amazing. I should say then, because it was later than I thought, it was dated in March. So I in my mind it was before, but it might have been just when it was sort of like becoming a thing. That was in Connecticut. So I don't know if you've seen our show lately, but anytime we have checked in with them, they're like, everything is Lysol, mask, everything. There's a 18-point inspection to bring your car in of all the different points they have to wash and wipe and everything. It's kind of wild.
Yeah, it's a unique time capsule. Look at that now.
Yeah, I can't wait to talk to you about all that stuff, and everything being that it's sort of what you do and all. So we'll get to that in a few minutes. And TBT, I'm glad you're here for the TBT because I'm throwing back to a time that you'll probably be very fond of as well. I want to throw back to Lit Week because Lit Week, as I recall, was the last time we had anything. It's certainly car related here in Los Angeles, like official wise. I mean, we're doing off the record cars and coffees and stuff, cars and COVIDs, SARS and COVIDs. But we did do a video way back when. It seems like 6 years ago, and now probably only 4 months. Is that about right? Wasn't it like it was the last thing? So it must have been early March, I'm guessing. Anyway, we've been doing it. It's Thursday, so we're doing a TBT, rolling back to Lit Week 2020. Roll it out. I've got that already. Hey-o.
So our award for the best driver goes to a Mr.
It wasn't me. It was not me.
I was just saying,
Somebody else.
I'll see you tomorrow.
I know these people. Oh, hi, Dev Sushi. There's all sorts of people.
love my
Look at this. Hi, everybody. We were just trying to find your car.
Can't miss it.
Pop quiz, hot shot.
I was talking about that yesterday, actually.
Driving Serenity. It's pretty sick. Good grief. Experience. I didn't record much because I was driving the piss out of this thing. Serenity rocks. Oh. Hi. How are you?
Really good.
Where are we going to see you next?
We are going to Period Correct.
See you there. Where are we going? See you there. Who are we? Period correct.
Party happened.
And fire started over here, and it burned down the whole building. And you guys really stepped up as a community. People donated tools, they donated materials, they donated money.
it really?
Right there.
Second direction here. Take a right here. Oh, hold it. Highway is closed. So, cross that off. There's a pen in my trunk.
See you later. Wow.
Wow, that was really cool.
Thanks. One, I forgot how long it was. I forgot how much stuff happened that weekend, how much we all did. And then I'm thinking to myself, I know I saw your dad. You weren't back yet, were you?
No, I wasn't.
Oh, man.
It was one of those things that it was right before it all happened, right?
Yeah,
So
like a week, right?
yeah, I was still in Chicago, and it's sad because I remember wanting to really come back, but just the timing of it didn't work out. I was still in school and thinking to myself, oh, it's okay. Because hopefully, like at that point, I didn't know that I'd be moving back here. But in my mind,
Right.
I thought at least like, well, there's still going to be Luftgekkult like coming up in like the spring, summer.
All
that
the
I had to
regular
look forward
stuff is
to.
still going to happen.
Yeah, it's like, oh, it's okay if I miss this. I'll be able to come do the other stuff. And yeah, of course that worked out.
Well, with that, welcome back from Lit Week to regular real life with COVID and distanced guests with the chairs that are a little bit further away. It is my pleasure to welcome back our good friend to the show. I guess I would say he's a Porsche fan. I would say you're a Porsche file, and I would definitely say you're a Porsche family. Dr. Andrew Florin is back with us here in the playset, and I couldn't be happier. I don't know. You know, you meet a lot of people through Instagram, and I remember the day I met you. I remember where we were, and I remember you leaning into the car with your big happy face, and I mean that in the best possible way. I'm just so fond of you because I feel like you're one of those magic people in this world, and I'm so grateful that you're here again today. So I guess I need to get all my fondness out of the way.
No, I appreciate you bringing me back. It's so good to see you, to have some kind of sense of normalcy. Like just looking at that video, it's like bittersweet because you realize like how small the community really is. Like recognizing all the faces, seeing Maria, Lisa, everyone else, just like tucked away in there, and realizing like we're getting like a little taste of it here and then, like with cars and coffee and different things. But it just makes you appreciate it that much more, and like so eager for it to come back again.
That's kind of like the tiny silver lining, right? Like it is.
Yeah.
It's definitely making me more grateful, and I like to think I'm kind of grateful anyway. But it's I mean, every single day. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
Like I'm. Please, let's just keep it together one more day.
Exactly. Yeah. A little longer.
Well, welcome back and all that stuff. I guess maybe we should start with you're back in town. Last time we checked in with you, I think
sir.
was Satellite.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
you were you'd already gotten your assignment. I think you talked about it on the show, but you hadn't moved, and you certainly hadn't started, and you certainly hadn't lived with this life that we all live now. So I'd love to just start maybe with what you've been up to since we checked in last, and go from there.
Yeah, definitely. It's been a whirlwind. I feel like it's felt like both an eternity and like a moment. Like I was talking with Claire, my wife, about it like earlier today, and I've been now in the hospital since mid-June, basically, like mid to late June. And like we had like an orientation month basically where we kind of went through all the different services. I'm an OBGYN resident over at Cedars, and that was really exciting and just really intense because you're getting kind of a flavor for everything. And then starting in like the beginning of July, they threw me into my first like month-long block of night shift on labor and delivery. And being like the intern on like a service, like if you ask anyone you know, like, oh, I was born at Cedars. You don't really think about that being from around here, that everyone says that. But then you begin to appreciate what that really means in terms of how busy the labor and delivery unit is.
One of the most crowded cities in the world, and everybody seems to have been born there.
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
I see your point. Sure.
So it's been
Just traffic alone.
Oh yeah, exactly. And it's been like just insane. I feel like a lot of people talk about just like how taxing intern year is at a residency. And I guess the good part is that the fact that there's nothing else happening in the world right now, this is the best year of all because I'm not, in the
Wait.
sense for me, that I feel like I'm not missing out on anything. Because it's not like, oh, all those
Oh,
fun
that's
things
what
I did
you
in
mean. I was like,
2020.
wait a minute, nothing's happening. I've never.
In the,
Everything is happening.
in the sense of outside the hospital, that there's always that FOMO, like, oh, everyone else is living their life and doing all these fun, exciting things.
Nothing good is happening
Yes,
outside.
exactly.
Yeah. In fact,
Yeah.
some of the best stuff in the world is happening where you are. Like you're actually experiencing creation and birth
It's pretty cool.
versus the other side of things, which is
Yeah.
not going so great these days.
Exactly. So
Wow.
so it's been fun. It's like a unique challenge, for
Well,
sure. But
I mean, mid-June, is that what you said? Early June?
yeah.
When I think of medicine, I think of so many years of so many schooling and all of, like a couple months. That's 2 months, really. It doesn't sound like much at all, but
Yeah.
yet every time I check in with you, it's kind of like you're either just about to go on a shift or you're just off a shift. I mean, I guess that's life,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it seems like you and your family are a medicine family. Like you're built for this. Is that?
I guess it's weird because I don't know if anyone is really built for this. We just like it's weird because as you're in it, you're thinking there's got to be something else. Like you're just so tired and exhausted. But then when you finish a shift, when something good happens, when you're in those moments, you just realize like there's nothing else that I would rather be doing. Like this is just so unique and such a challenge, but so fun. It's kind of all of those emotions rolled up into one like 16-hour day that you're just circling through.
Do you consider what you do? This is a weird question, but because I'm a weird, curious guy, do you consider what you do like a service industry in the weirdest way?
Yeah, I definitely think so.
I do too.
It for
And I'm
sure
only
is.
realizing it now.
I think a lot of people will simply say that like, oh, it's a calling. And I think to a certain degree it is because you have to work so hard to be able to even get to this moment to actually be in the hospital practicing that you kind of have to be a little kooky to put yourself through that kind of life to get to it.
That may be what I meant when I said built for it. I mean, like I feel like there's a DNA attraction to that type of work.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's hard to say because I think about like my grandfather who was a neurosurgeon and like he was always busy, always gone. And in my head, I thought, is that necessarily something that I want to put myself through and then put like my future children through?
Why was he always gone? Was he
Just so busy. Just like
You're kidding. Wow.
as a
Always in
neurosurgeon, I
surgery.
mean, yeah, well, you can talk with my dad about that too, but he was always working. And then when he retired, he was so passionate about the work and had been involved in so many different neurological associations like around
That's
the country.
what I was
that
wondering.
He
Speaking
became like a
engagements
consultant
and
too.
stuff.
Yeah, like he was involved in like a lot of like the reimbursement process through Congress. Like he did a lot of different stuff for neurosurgeons and for reimbursement in general for physicians.
Wow.
So like he was very invested in that, and even in his retirement, he was obsessed with that kind of stuff. He just loved the work. Some people love life outside of work and love the work. I think he loved both, but he was just so passionate about what
Into
he
the
was
work.
doing that he really focused on that.
I mean, I kind of get that, but I kind of see that in you too. But you're not afraid to enjoy life. Like you definitely
Yeah.
stop and smell the roses. That's one of the things I like about you. I mean, we met
appreciate
in
that.
one of those moments where it
Yeah,
was
yeah.
like, the light's shining very bright today, that kind of thing, you know?
Yeah, I think it makes you appreciate it that much more. When time is a limiting factor, like you want to like really make the most of that time that you're given and enjoy it.
Is it possible that because you come from a family of medicine that maybe that is ingrained? Like death is already built in? Like I didn't really
Yeah.
change my ways from being a youthful, angry young man who kind of made his way through the world however he wanted to like, there's a bigger picture here.
Yeah.
Until something happened with me health-wise and I sort of had to
Yeah.
look at death a little closer than I certainly thought I would in my 30s.
Yeah.
You guys have to sort of think about that. You have to learn about it. You have to learn to prevent it, obviously.
Yeah.
Is that maybe part of it, or are you just kind of a grateful person in general? We said that before, that grateful
I mean,
word.
definitely grateful. I think maybe part of it too, and I think this kind of speaks to like a larger issue in general, like being able to see my grandfather as a physician, like I could see myself in those shoes and like capable of being able to pursue something like that because I saw someone like me that was able to do it before. And
There's
so I
a
think
path
like,
laid.
yeah. And I think of like a lot of my friends like in Chicago, Just like we were on the south side of Chicago, and so you think about like the social issues at play there, and a lot of my like co-medical students dealt with like not having role models exactly that they could visualize. Like a lot of the African American population there didn't have a lot of strong African American doctors that they could model and believe themselves to be as well. So I feel like having my grandfather as that role model. And I think also having my father as that role model, because he had been a few years pre-med and realized that it wasn't for him and had the strength to pivot and go into something else that he was truly passionate about. I think seeing both of those things kind of helped inform my decision, because it gave me like the freedom to be able to make that decision truly for myself versus some people that you hear that are kind of like lineages of families that go through this kind of thing.
I'm skipping around here, but your father, the middle generation non-surgeon now, is one of my favorite people to talk to, simply because his brain is willing to go to a fantasy place, because that's what he does. He walked in here. You guys don't know this, but they were both on the show once together, and he came in here and he just got it. He just got it. He got it more than anybody else. Yeah, and in fact, it gave me the confidence to dive in a little bit further, because it's even grown since then. But he just there's something about him. Obviously, his intellect is through the roof, so he's a pleasure to talk to, because he seems to understand everything. But you see the twinkle in his eyes too when he either shares his idea or he bites onto yours, and maybe that's what I see in you too. Maybe that's something that you guys just have. I don't know. There's some genuine enthusiasm that you're not afraid to wear on your sleeve and share with other people that I think is bold and courageous, because some people.
Thank you.
We put whatever we want on Instagram, but maybe we're different inside or whatever. And you guys are the genuine article.
Well, likewise. I feel the same. I mean, this goes back to our conversations before about gratitude, and just like, I feel like the world needs more passionate people who truly are passionate about what they do or whatever it is they do, regardless if it's their like main job, if it's just something that they're interested in. Like, why would you waste your time doing anything like a half measure?
Shameless plug here. I was on the Smoking Tire podcast earlier today.
I want to hear about that.
But we talked about, Matt said something or other about, being kind and working hard and the whole thing, and it was totally true.
Yeah.
I turned it around to, doing what you love goes a long way, because in my opinion, that's putting more love into the world. And it really is that simple. You can put more love into the world in the most selfish way possible, simply by doing what you love. The result is going to be exponentially superb. That's not an actual mathematic equation.
This right here, everything that you're doing, is a perfect testament to that.
Oh, thanks, man.
No,
but that's all. This is all I know how to do. Thank you.
No, it's
you're
true.
Just describing why we do this.
Yeah, it brings so much joy. Like, to be able. Not only is it something like comforting that you hear, especially in like these situations, but it's so sincere, and it's such a reflection of the community at large that I feel like for people too that are trying to kind of make their way into the community that don't necessarily have a clear in. Like for me, I'm grateful that my father was already part of the Porsche community, and so for me to kind of get to know people, I had like one degree of connection that kind of made me feel a little bit more at ease. But I think people that are trying to kind of come in, they'll stumble upon like this podcast and like the show, and they'll get to hear like kind of what's going on, and it's not like a facade. Like it's actually like that, like flashback. That's really what's happening.
Right.
And so I think it gives people hopefully a little bit more comfort and willingness to just like walk up and say hello. Like I was nervous when I came up to you when we were at like the Malibu Country Mart, because like you hear and like you talk, but like there's one thing to make that next plunge, because it makes you vulnerable, and not a lot of people
to
like
make the synapse, right?
Yeah,
to fire between. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well,
So-
putting yourself out there, I guess, is maybe the lesson there. Because you did, and here we are.
I know, and it's so nice. It means a lot.
I love what you said about the facade. It's not a facade, and that's sort of the irony of this whole thing. Do you know what I mean? It's sort of what I love about the whole thing. It's like we're preaching authenticity while we're sitting here in this fantasy make-believe land that I created. Nobody still really knows why, including myself, but we needed it. We needed it to happen this way in order for it to all unfold. Exactly. Yeah, there's something fun about that. But again, that's that whimsical nature that I was talking about your dad, and that twinkle that you guys share. It was very nice to finally. Do you mind if I switch around again?
Please, are you kidding? You think I care?
I don't know.
To be here.
I'm so happy to see you. I really am.
Same.
bouncing all around. It was so nice to meet your wife finally the other day. I am
Yeah.
next to certain that was the first time finally, right?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, that's
It
amazing.
definitely was.
She's beautiful. She's lovely as a person. She just seems like a kind soul.
Yeah.
Your doggie is just adorable. I can't remember the name right now.
Ollie.
Ollie, of course.
Oh, yeah.
But then Ollie had a friend the other day who was the sister's dog, right?
Yes, Mr. Feeney.
Come on, from
That is
Boy
his
Meets
name.
World.
That is his actual name.
Then I'm gonna
On
call
his-
that dog
on his
Kid
list,
if I
it's
see it
Mr.
again.
George Feeney, the whole deal. She fully committed.
Mr. Matthews.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
At the
that's so
vet, they
funny.
have to call him by name,
Oh,
Mr.
that's-
Feeney.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if you don't give, you have to, of
Exactly.
course. Oh, that's funny.
You
They
can
have
call
to.
him George.
They call ours meow meow. You have to do what you have to do. But she's lovely, and then the two dogs. The whole thing was just a matching set. How you arrived the other day, it looked like the Doublemint Twins commercials. It was really,
yeah.
two pretty girls in masks, two matching dogs.
Love it. It's the best. People recognize the corgis now. Like, they have no idea who we are, which is perfect. And they're just be like, oh, hey, like, I recognize that dog from, like, a photo some random person had posted on Instagram. It's like, that may have been me. I don't know.
Oh,
But
that's
yeah,
a riot.
Like, they're sweet.
Well, what I noticed is you started. You took to. You've probably been doing it for a while, but I definitely noticed it that day in Malibu because you've taken to doing the cars and corgi photo,
Yes.
and it's becoming a thing.
That brings a lot of joy.
Well, was it Zwart who just posted one the other day? There was somebody familiar in our community high up that I was like, wow, it's taken off.
So it was really sweet because, I mean, everyone knows Jezebel.
It was,
we
so
all
it
see
was Zwart.
Jezebel.
Right.
And so I think that was one of the times I saw you last was at Malibu. And Jeff had come up there because I had messaged him. And it was before he was going to be heading out to Colorado for Pikes Peak.
Exactly.
And he brought Jezebel out because I said I really wanted to get a photo with Ollie and Jezebel together.
This is the story.
And so
yes.
that's when, like, I was walking around and I saw him with people. I didn't want to bother him. Like, he's doing his own thing. And, like, the sweetness of his heart, he walks over to me while we're in front of his car, his, like, light yellow 911. And, like, he popped over, made sure that Jezebel got posed. We got Ollie posed with him. And it was so sweet. And then Type 7, the
That's
Porsche
what it
digital
was.
publication.
That's what it was.
Those awesome people over there, they reposted because, like, they messaged me. They said, "I think the world needs this right now. They just need a little bit of corgi love and some Porsches."
It's just
And I couldn't
happiness.
have
It's
agreed
happiness
more.
in a photograph.
Yeah, just innocent little corgi with his little bandana.
That's
His
what it was.
Porsche.
It was Type 7, but Type 7's pretty big.
Yeah, they're awesome. They're awesome.
Oh man. Well, is that going to become like a series? Because it certainly could be. Or are you just joking around?
I would love to.
It could be a calendar, man.
My ultimate dream. Someone actually said something like, "Oh, are you making a book?" And I laughed. I'm like, "Oh, that's a good idea."
But it's not bad. Yeah.
They're onto something there.
Especially these days where we are all sort of stuck in the library, so to speak, and we're all getting sick of our screens. Everybody
Yeah.
is ordering tangible books off Amazon these days, to sit and read.
Exactly.
I'd love to have a nice photo book on the coffee table or whatever.
Well, something. I mean, so I think I had told you before about the silly little books that I was working on, like the rhyming ones.
Yeah, you named it that.
Yeah. And
You're not being disparaging right now. It's,
yeah, they're
it's a
like
creative title.
They're like a silly. Yeah, I'm working on the titles for them right now, but they're like rhyming children's books, like Porsche centric. And the second book that I have involves Ollie, and so like I can imagine it's like we have the illustrator and we're trying to get things going right now.
I love this.
But I think it'd be like a fun way to like share your Porsche love like with the next generation. And it has like all these different little morals and random things associated. Because I was reading like John Wooden books and all these random things with all the free time that we've had
This is
before
what I'm
I started
saying.
residency. But yeah, it's like a nice way to unwind.
If there's any way, maybe we could partner up here. I have been wanting for like probably over 2 years now. I've only got like, oh, this is this one, this will be this one. I haven't like done the outlines for each
Yeah.
story, but I've got like 6 of these are what these. I want to do a children's book series where Yellow Car is the star, and it's
That would be
adventures
awesome.
of doing things it doesn't. I think
Yeah.
I think I can with the train. All the things
Yeah.
that spoke to me as a kid, that kind of the little golden books and all
Oh,
those
yeah.
different things. I kind of want to do something like that, but in the Porsche community, but
think you
fiction,
should.
straight fiction, just for kids.
Yeah.
Like adults may like the illustrations if they're good enough, but I
Yeah.
kind of want to do it for kids and kind of make
I think you should.
like a good mark, and not maybe give it to charity. Like I don't know, I don't
Yeah.
even know what to do. I haven't gotten that far, but
I think you totally
creatively,
should.
it's such a happy thing, and kids
So
go to that
fun.
car no matter what's in the parking lot, no matter how many dollars are spent in the parking lot.
Yeah.
They all want to go over and touch the dirty, happy little yellow car. Anyway,
I would buy that. I feel like the world is
Well-
clamoring for that because like really, what kind of? There's not really too many like Porsche-centric like children's books, or even just automotive children's books in general. And we have
The one behind you from Dwight Carpe gear is the only thing I can think of with the
Yeah.
little silver speedster there.
Yeah.
The small silver speedster.
exactly.
Which is great. And the little red Ferrari, I think is the other one. I can't remember the other one, but with the Sir Sterling. Anyway,
Yeah.
great book series. But it's like, how many books can one guy put out? And they're each very individual stories about his
Yeah.
kids, kind of almost. You know, it's an
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah, yeah.
I think to go more generic and actually do it like this is for, like, learn this lesson in life, you know,
Yeah.
or whatever it happens to be.
I think you totally should. I think you get so much out of just that creative process of just putting it to paper. Like I struggled through it and loved every moment of just trying to write these things, and like it just randomly like ideas will pop up in my head now that I've had like this week off to kind of just relax. Because I drove up to Santa Barbara yesterday and back, and on the way like just like random little like glimmers of an idea. I was like, oh, I could make like a fun story, and then it's just that whole process of exploring it and like the rhyming scheme that you create along the way, or however like you want to write it. Like there's just so much to it. It's fun.
The creative process, right?
It really is.
What do you do to? Well, it sounds like you took a drive to tap into it this time. I was gonna say, like, you know, what do you do to tap in? Relax.
I think I think a lot while I run.
Oh, right.
I love going for like long runs. It was how like in Chicago that I would almost like scout locations if I was going to shoot any of the Porsches in the city. And that's also just been a way not only to de-stress, but like I think a lot while I'm doing that. And I'll come up with random ideas, and I'll just like pause and like jot them in my phone, and then keep going. So
You're
I feel like
pumping
that's-
so much blood; it's good for you, right? I mean, it's just so
Exactly.
good for your heart and cardio.
Oh yeah. And then you get home too, and for a few hours you feel like it's that runner's high. Like you are sitting there.
Have
like,
you
on
run
top
your
of
whole
the world.
life? Is that something that's always been?
Not my whole life. I've done sports my whole life, but not like serious running. I always hated it in high school. I ran like a little bit with my friend who was a cross country runner.
Right.
But that was only for volleyball and different things like that. It wasn't until college that I began like more seriously like run, and then moving to Chicago. It's like a fun way to view the city. You find all the little nooks and crannies, which end up being like fun areas to shoot the cars.
I think of like Casey Neistat in New York. Same thing. Like he just ran and skateboarded and everything. He was always like, that was his way of sort of discovering way more than the rest of us do a little bit. You
Oh
know?
yeah. What about you? What did
see
you
a
do?
different frequency.
Were you into sports or anything in particular that
Dude,
drew you?
No way. We talked about this on the Smoking Tire actually last night. I was into anything art related, or I was on my own. I used to like to. I mean, hello. It's sort of put Jay in his little cave, let him make his magic. No, I was not into sports even a little bit, and to this day, I don't get it. And it's funny. I've had to work with a lot of like sports celebrities.
Yeah.
And I almost think I get these gigs because I don't know shit. Like literally some of the biggest people ever. Like I can't even think of who I should mention because I can't remember Rob Gronkowski. I worked with him on a thing when he was like the biggest guy going when he was still playing football. And then there was Stephen Curry, who was like the biggest thing, and I did a commercial with him, and I drove Kobe Bryant in my time machine to that Nike launch. All these memes that are showing up with Kobe getting out of a time machine. The guy next to him has this tattoo on his wrist because it's me. Hi.
That's amazing.
And it was shot in front of Undefeated out here in Santa Monica by my friend Tiffany Curry. Anyway,
That's
just
awesome.
like I keep getting these weird life placements with these like pretty big celebrities. There have been
like
many
that.
others too. I can't.
Yeah.
Anthony Davis from the. He's a basketball player.
On the Lakers now.
Oh, he is.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
did a thing with him. A huge was he something for Pixels that movie. And
That's so interesting. Maybe you approach them on like a...
Dr. Dre. No, it can't be Dr. Dre. Dr. J.
Dr. J.
Dr. J. He's passed away recently. Moses Malone.
Oh wow.
Like
That's awesome.
yeah, and I've had all these jobs with these people because I used to do some work for ESPN.
Yeah.
Like promo work. Yeah, just really weird stuff. And I'm not like an assistant. Like I'm the guy who has to kind of talk to them and stuff. You know what I mean?
Wait,
And
were
it's
you involved in like all of the ESPN campaign? Like they had like their amazing
not the
commercials.
sports not the ones that won Emmys for Sports
Okay,
Center.
I was thinking of those really fast.
But I would work with the same DP and the same
Oh.
crew a lot of times. But
That's
it would
so
be
cool.
it would be my crew on my shows. But no, I didn't do the Sports Center commercials. That would be awesome.
Regardless, that's amazing. I wonder if then the fact that you weren't as invested in their sports, you were able to approach them from like a more human perspective. 'Cause you weren't just, like,
100%.
geeking out.
Straight up. And also, I would be able to stay analytical and in the work because I wouldn't be like, oh, but he's not going to want to do that and whatever. I'm like, yeah, he's going to do that because that's what we need. And we'll just do it. Stop getting in the way. We'll figure it out.
I like that.
Yeah, it's weird stuff. So I was never into. Oh, I'm so sorry. This is like
No.
I want to talk about you.
No,
Why I'm?
Because I want to hear more about you guys.
All right. But anyway, so no, I was never into sports, but I was very musical. Before I found Letterman and talk show and all that stuff, I was going to be a musician. I was doing sessions. I was on the radio in New York when I was like still in high school age and stuff like that.
That's awesome.
Used to do recording sessions, and I was really, really quite good as a drummer and a piano player just for fun.
Do you ever do it at all anymore?
No, not really. The last time I did was with Craig Robinson, without the Nasty Delicious. It was just Craig Robinson at the Hot Tub 2 rap party in New Orleans at the Saint Hotel.
That sounds like
this
a
is my
pretty
last
amazing
gig. This is
story.
my last gig I've done, folks.
Wow.
It was like
What a
whenever
gig,
Hot
though.
Tub 2 was, like 2013, I think.
Yeah.
So I think that was it. But I got back into it. I bought another drum kit, and that one is sitting in someone else's home studio now, not here, not being played.
I mean, if
being
you're
played by
if you're
somebody.
gonna have a last gig, that sounds like a pretty good last gig.
But between those two, oh my God, it had been years. I mean, years. And my original kit is still at my childhood family friend's home. You know what I mean? Like, it's just weird stuff. All the stuff still exists, but no, I don't really play anymore.
You should dive back into it.
Yeah,
Pick
where?
up those creative. Yeah, I know. That's
I mean,
a really good question.
it's a great idea, but like, I played the drums.
Practically, where are you gonna do that?
It sucked. You could spend 10 grand on a really cool electronic kit, but again, that's a commitment. You know what I mean? That's like, are you going to get into this
you
and
gonna
do
be
something with
producing
it?
something? Yeah.
No, I want to just have exercise.
Yeah.
But that was truly my exercise when I was a kid because I was pretty good and I would practice all the time.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And then like go-karting and driving. I was always into that stuff. But no sports.
Hey, driving aggressively and safely, that's a sport. And go-karting?
You know, how did you learn to drive? Like, did you learn to drive the normal way?
Yeah, basically, it was
Like normal
more,
ages
You know
and
what's funny?
stuff?
It was more my mom that taught me versus my dad.
Okay.
Because I didn't learn stick until, honestly, a few years ago. I had tried, I think, a few times, and then, I don't know, just life was busy, all that other stuff. They're just like, oh, let's just get you in an automatic for now. And that was kind of how it worked, and it wasn't until like I actually really wanted to learn. And then my mom actually taught me, for the most part, even how to drive manual at Rose Hill Cemetery in Pointy Hills in a Audi TT, like a first generation Quattro. It was my grandpa's old car, and we just like took that through there. And I remember within, I think like a day and a half of her teaching me really how to do it and feeling a little more comfortable, I drove from Whittier all the way out to Topanga Canyon to visit like an old mentor of mine who was up in the hills, and that was my trial by fire. Because I went
Going
across,
up to Topanga?
I went across the freeway through like onto PCH, then up, and then like she lived.
It's like your
up
first
in-
solo flight.
It was, because she like lived up in the hills that were like, it's like a 40-degree incline. So I'm like falling backwards, really having to like find that balance really quickly. And I was petrified. And
100%.
I think that was the way. After that, I felt more comfortable everywhere.
Crash course, right?
Yeah.
Just throw you right in the deep end.
Yeah, exactly.
I like the idea of I have mixed feelings on the throwing you in an automatic. You know, I feel like if you don't learn on a manual, you're never gonna learn, and maybe even don't get the fundamentals as well, because there's more, like, you have to.
Yeah.
It's a little more thorough. But at the same time, I kind of like how it happened for you because of your story. You sort of opened my eyes a little bit of like, all right, but then if they do learn, it's because they really want to. Or because they want this car that's old. It's a good car guy reason for whatever it is. So I guess I'm with you there.
It's
So, but
plus
same
and minus.
normal ages and stuff. Like, you got your permit and like did everything the right way.
Yeah, I went through all those classes, and I was actually looking, because my dad and I initially were thinking about like either like an old Mustang, or we had family in the Midwest that had like a 69 Camaro that was available. And it was just like a little out of my price range as like a student, because I was going to be the one, like they were going to be like help me with the down payment, and then I was going to like find a job and all
Sure.
that traditional
Keep
stuff.
it up.
Yeah, exactly. And we ended up just going with a Volkswagen Jetta. It was safe, reliable, more affordable. It made sense for everything.
I kind of have to even agree with that one. I mean, for your first car.
Yeah.
Like a 69 Camaro sounds bitchin'. Because
Yeah.
it's a bitchin' Camaro.
I think I'm here to this day because of that decision.
Kinda.
I don't know if I would have trusted 16-year-old me along the hills.
Beyond that, it may have gotten you out of cars, because like it may not have been the fun romantic experience you were hoping for.
Yeah, exactly. Because as a kid in high school, unless you're just one of those unique individuals that loves it immediately. Like for me, I was just so obsessed with everything else in life at that time that I think had the car died on me a lot, I wouldn't have appreciated the fact that that's part of the experience that you're meant to enjoy. Versus being like, this is keeping me away from my friends, blah, blah.
Right.
Like,
It would have
I
been an
just don't know how I would
inconvenience
take
instead
it.
of the experience.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Because
good.
now I'd be totally okay with it. I'd have to leave it on the side of the road, kiss it, and then take an Uber to get to work and then deal with it after. But
Gosh, that is a thing, right? I mean, it's very rare you see a car on the side of the road alone anymore because everyone's got like an app and a thing and whatever. That's funny.
Yeah.
Gosh,
I
when we
thought-
were kids, there would just be a car on the side of the freeway.
just abandon it.
Yeah, and you're on a road trip of 10 of them. Oh, is this one tagged yet? No, it's not tagged.
Yeah.
Remember the cops used to come and tag them?
There was a guy I met in Alaska. I did like a random camping trip, kind of a camping trip. But
I hope if it was intentional, if you went all the way to Alaska.
It
That's
was
a weird
in
place to
between-
randomly
I know.
camp.
The story behind that was it was in between first and second year of med school, and I was stuck in the city in Chicago, like downtown for so long, like the winter and everything, so gray. I wanted to get out in the exact opposite fashion, and so I found a family medicine clinic in the middle of nowhere in the Alaskan interior, and ended up spending like 10 nights out there, like working at this clinic, just to get a sense of what like
Whoa.
remote medicine is like.
Sounds like awesome life experience.
It was super rad. And like I went in, I basically slept in like an iron drum on the premises of this weird campground. But the weird story is when you say like just abandoning a car, the owner of the campground, basically his story was that like 40 years prior he'd been driving like a VW bus up along like the route through Alaska and it died along the side of the road. He just abandoned the car and walked into this town called Tok, which is like unincorporated territory, and just like stayed, never left.
Holy crap.
Just like put it away. and
I'm
he
going to
just,
drive
like,
it till the wheels fall off, and I'm going to stay wherever I stop.
Yeah, and he'd been there
Wow.
ever since, making these giant iron drum like
What
grills.
what kind of bus was it? It wasn't the bus from the movie, was it? That they just
I know
moved?
that would have been funny. No,
Oh,
no,
okay.
it was a VW bus. I don't know.
Oh,
if
a VW bus,
Yeah, I don't know if
okay.
it was like a 23 window. Probably not, but
No, but
just
still.
something.
What do you think of that? It was Into the Wild, right?
Yeah,
it was
yeah,
Into
yeah.
the Wild. It was Sean Penn, I think, directed it, but it was the kid from
It was-
Girl Next Door. He was a
I'm
great,
blanking on
great
his name.
actor.
Emil Hirsch.
Emil Hirsch.
That's
Good
who
for
it was.
you.
Yeah.
I didn't see that movie when it came out because I was like, I'm not into it because I was still in the world. I was still in the
Yeah.
Matrix. and when I did see it, probably 5 years later, maybe even more, probably 5 years ago,
Yeah.
I was absolutely taken with it, totally blown away, and thought to myself, someday, I'm going to get into sports and exercise, and I'm going to go hike out to that bus or whatever.
Yeah.
And then just like a month or so ago, there was a whole big, like,
I didn't even hear.
covert. Oh, you don't know? It's
No,
not there
I don't
anymore.
even know.
It's not there anymore.
Oh.
And it was like a government thing. Like they moved it because of the resources that were necessary from people hiking out, and then the help that would need to go out to help the hikers who weren't prepared.
Oh, wow.
Basically, all the people who would kind of go be the Emil Hirsch character, but weren't
Yeah.
necessarily as equipped. Anyway, there was a whole thing, and they moved it with a helicopter and didn't tell anyone. It wasn't till it was like they showed footage of it after it was gone.
I had no idea.
I know. All right, so
That's
you don't know.
nuts.
I was curious. Well, what do you feel about it, having heard that?
I mean,
Need more info.
I can understand a little bit from the perspective that I'm sure I just don't know how many numbers of people were actually like getting injured or dying trying to do it, but I mean,
To me, it was doing more of the other. Like it was there's
Yeah.
a place out there. It's like a weird.
yeah, that's
I don't
hard
know
to
that people
say.
would go there to die. You know what I mean? I don't think
Yeah,
that that's
yeah.
what the character did. I think he just went there, lived his life to the fullest till the end, and he died earlier than he would have. you
Yeah.
know?
No, that's a good question.
Oh, spoiler alert. Sorry.
He lives happily ever after.
Yeah, well,
He's up
sure.
there still.
Yeah.
Had salmon with him.
Driving that bus.
Had a good time.
I don't know. I think of like if they took the buses out of the MASH camp, like, oh man, I'd be so bummed out in
Yeah.
Calabasas or Malibu or wherever that
Yeah,
is, the
yeah.
Malibu Mountains.
That would be sad to take it away. I mean,
Because I think of it like it's sort of X marks the spot for me. It's a little
Yeah.
treasure hunt for us. Remember geocaching? They used to do that, or
I think
what was
people
it
still
called?
do that. Yeah, geocaching, where they tag it and like GPS tag it. And
Yeah, and they'll
people
put a
will go and,
little-
like, drop something off. and
Yeah, they'll put a
swap
little
it.
prize on the wall or a
Yeah,
dollar
yeah.
or something.
Yeah,
It's sort of like that, but like grander scale,
Yeah.
like these
That's
little
like a-
dots of
it's
places
a
to visit.
COVID-friendly thing that they can do.
Yeah, it kind of is,
Yeah,
right?
Still, I think so.
You go to this spot in
Remotely.
Santa Monica, lick this rock, put it back.
Yeah, spray it and then walk away.
Oh my gosh. Well, what do you think about like the world these days? I mean, where are you with things? Are you zoomed in on your life, or are you? I don't mean your politics
yeah,
or
yeah.
anything you're comfortable talking
Yeah.
about. Really, I guess.
I think it goes in and out. I get glimpses of what's happening with the world. So on my night block that I had been on for this past month, like I kind of lost track of what was happening in the world. But usually in the mornings after my shift, I'd either go for a run, which I did like very few, or I would just like eat breakfast, shower, listen to a podcast of like a kind of a news recap.
Yeah.
And I usually listen to like the NPR podcast that they had in the mornings just to see. It's called like NPR like News Now or something.
Oh, yeah,
And
that's
it's like a 15-minute blurb of just kind of the updates of the day, and that was kind of the only outlet that I had. Otherwise, I mean, I posted on Instagram very infrequently,
Yeah.
just because like I didn't have any time or energy, even though I have like an archive of a bajillion photos that like are waiting. But
There's still creativity in coming up with what you're going to say and how you're going to say it.
yeah, exactly. So it's weird because I catch glimpses of what's happening in the world, but it's all over the place.
Well, I think
hard
that
to
maybe
say.
the lesson here is to live our own lives and
Yeah.
to do it in the best way possible, and to do it with conscience. I mean, that's what I'm finding anyway.
Yeah.
To just live consciously and try to make an effort to make the right decision. I mean, no matter where we are at any point, there's a decision to make, right? You go this way, that way, no matter
Yeah.
what. And it's kind of like, all right, just make, like your parents say, leave the house, make good decisions. Please just make good decisions.
It's such a clash too, I feel like, of like American ideals and like what represents like American society, because like America is not a collectivist place, and we're faced with something in which this could have easily been well, not easily, but it could have been avoided had we had a more collectivist approach on top of so many other aspects. Whether you're looking at a different healthcare system that's better equipped for this kind of things, there's so many factors that affect it. But I think if you're trying to kind of like break it down to its fundamental level, it's the fact that like Americans are not a collectivist society, and so to think about the other is a challenging thing, and that's kind of what we're facing head on in a day-to-day way.
Is that
Tough.
I think you're incredibly astute, and that was very well put. You're very intellectual, also. Do you think that is it a political thing? Is it a like where does that? Do you think it's politics, or do you think it's awareness, like enlightenment? Like, what do you think? Where do you think that comes from? I mean, because what you're saying sounds to go against capitalism, and it's like, well, capitalism as a whole isn't going to go away in this country anytime soon. We may go to different subsystems, but like, I just don't see capitalism going away. But yet, I also kind of like that's sort of like, well, I have to step on you to get mine. It's a weird play. Like, I understand why people are all trying to fight for themselves, but at the same time, we're never going to make it that way, and you aren't either.
Yeah.
Like you, who's fighting, it's just not going to work in the end. So it's a low-sum game.
I think it's really tricky because people jump to conclusions. Like immediately when I say like those kind of things, people are like, "Oh, is this like a socialist agenda?"
Oh, right, yeah.
Which
Well, that's
like, is
you're
a
afraid to
natural
talk about
inclination.
it.
Exactly, and I think that's the hard part is that, like, I guess maybe I'm more idealistic in the sense that I'd like to believe that everyone who's coming to the table is coming from the mindset of we want to make this place better. Like, how can we actually make
the
this better
fantasy.
for all of us? Because that's a big caveat. Not everyone's saying that, but like to be able to approach it from the way that we are both coming to the table wanting the same thing, but maybe have different biases and different backgrounds that are bringing our own experiences into this, which then can come at odds.
Is that greater good? Would we call that greater good? Sort of like moving for the herd instead of just for the individual?
Yeah, I mean, I think like
But
ultimately
not
that's
being
like the goal.
communism or whatever, just simply just awareness.
Yeah, and I think I think there's no reason that can't be done in the American climate of capitalism. I think that it's just, to a certain degree, American greed is also part of the fabric. And so when we rise, we don't necessarily think of bringing people along with us in that way. I mean,
Oh, that's an
So
interesting. Yes, you're
it's like
interesting.
it's
That's-
challenging because we have so much available to us, and I think there's just so many things that could be done to try and solve this issue.
Yeah.
But kind of going back to what you said, is it political? I think it has to be political, but at the same time, it's like a fundamental issue.
Right.
It's like much bigger. Like I looked at like when I think of like collectivist societies, I think like Taiwan, which obviously has like Chinese roots, but it's just like it's such a different mentality in the way like they approach their healthcare system, because that's how I've kind of gotten to know Taiwanese healthcare and Taiwan as a whole, and to kind of make that kind of change takes so many steps beyond just a political move. I mean, I think of like the way that the U.S. approached kind of cancer early on in like the 19th, 20th century.
Mm-hmm.
It took a social movement before necessarily political. And I know the two are ingrained, but there's so many things of just changing the American psyche before thinking about pushing any kind of political agenda or anything like that, because everyone is so entrenched that it's tough.
It is tough. It's funny. We never get political. And I guess I don't really feel like we are now, because I definitely am not. I don't have a side here. I'm just looking at it. Yeah, in fact, maybe we've gone as far as we need to go on that. But I am so. I mean, I could pick and pry at the curiosity of it all, because like, oh, I want it to work too. Like, how do we get it to work?
Yeah.
Like fundamentally, I feel like this is the same country it's always been, but it's a matter of, do you want the one from the past, the present, or the future? You know, I think depending on, it seems like at this point, nobody's on a schedule of television and 9 to 5 work, and everything is out the window. Everyone's on their own lives, and it's almost like we lost what the agreed where we are in the time frame. Like some people are still wearing bell bottoms, and some people are still wearing, skinny jeans. You know what I mean? And it's one of those, and everything's fine.
Yeah.
And I kind of agree with that from how we should live our lives. But like from the rules standpoint of how we're supposed to act, that gets blurry.
Yeah. It's hard. I think ultimately, like, regardless of politics, if people can actually come together and talk and share their ideas, share their perspective and their bias, then like the hope is that in the light of those conversations, people can come to an agreement of some kind.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I agree with what you're saying there, but
Sharing without judgment.
Yeah. I have plenty of I'd say a large portion of my friends I disagree with on a lot of different things, and I love those conversations.
Sure.
Like that's where you grow. If you're just talking with people who agree with you completely.
That's a bubble. You don't need that.
And I feel like we're kind of living in lots of different bubbles right now, and none of it's coming together.
Maybe that's kind of what I mean. Like, oh, there's the bell-bottom crew, there's the skinny jeans crew, there's the ripped jeans crew, and it's like we're all in high school again, but the cliques are way bigger.
Yeah, and technology kind of it can foster the good, but it can also kind of help facilitate those bubbles, like any chat room that's focused on one topic.
Here's the thing, because of high school and not being into sports, I was the weird guy who didn't fit in anywhere, but fit in everywhere because of it. So like I had friends who were jocks, I had friends who were skaters, I had friends who were goth and all that stuff. And I feel like, isn't that what we need to survive these days? You need to be able to fucking talk to anybody and be able to communicate, communicate with everybody.
Absolutely.
And it is okay that you don't agree on things. It's not, we were saying this on the show the other day, it doesn't mean you're diametrically opposed just because you don't agree on one thing really, really badly.
Exactly.
Oh, gosh.
No, I totally agree.
You came in this house with a mask on. I generally wear one also.
Yes.
I'm not telling you to put it on, but I do want to ask about it. What is your, every time I see you, you're wearing one.
Yeah.
What is your, I'm sure it's a hospital policy probably to have one. What about your, you're always wearing one.
Yeah.
So is there anything we should know? You're a doctor. That's where I'm at. You're a doctor.
I can't encourage it enough. Like, if you're not spaced out by 6 feet, if you're in like an enclosed space, not spaced out, all that, like, wear it for yourself, wear it for your friends, wear it for the people that are immunocompromised, anyone that you don't even, like, someone could have a pending cancer diagnosis or anything that you don't know about down the road.
Yeah.
By being present around them, if they were to go through chemo and all those different things, if they're just immunocompromised and they don't realize it yet, like, you don't realize who you can affect. And I think for me, like, the way I've been trying to approach it is, like, I'm in the hospital. I fortunately have not yet had to interact with COVID patients, but I know that time is coming, and I don't want to, on my own conscience, think that I'm putting anyone in danger. And so it's interesting that it became a political statement.
Yeah.
But I think it's something that, like, medicine is rapidly learning. At the beginning, I can accept the fact that, like, we weren't, as a medical community in the U.S., saying everyone should be wearing masks. We couldn't
really find enough damn masks in the beginning.
Yeah, and right then, early on, exactly. We didn't have enough, so we said, you don't even need to wear any. Just let the health professionals be wearing them in the hospitals.
Let us figure this thing out for a minute. We'll talk about masks next week.
Yeah, exactly. And it's interesting because you would hear things being, like, people will come up to you and be like, well, you guys said at the beginning we shouldn't have been wearing them, and now you're changing your mind? Well, it's like, we accept that was a mistake, but that's part of the process of humility and looking at the data. Yeah. And once we look at the data, we're not trying to make a political stand. It's just simply saying, like, this will reduce the likelihood that you're going to get infected. Like, you do this for yourself, you do this for the people around you. Like, I know it sucks. we're not gonna sit here and be like, oh, this is so fun.
Yeah,
You're gonna be
I'm so
sucking down your own air.
I love this.
Yeah, but it's
As a
like,
doctor, you must have a little bit of like, oh yeah, everybody finally gets to see what this bullshit's like.
Yeah, exactly. Being in the OR and your glass, like now that I know that people understand the glasses fogging up and all of that.
This
issue,
is my nightmare. You
Yeah.
told me a secret about it with getting those ones with the little clip, but like, you know,
Oh,
you can't
yeah.
find anything stylish, and you can't really support your friends by doing
Exactly.
that. You know what I mean?
No, those are awesome.
Speaking of which, I just should say, if you
love
are
that.
6 feet or less, or if you see someone not wearing a mask or needing close space, blah, 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 please do, by all means, say to them, hey, man, need a mask? ShopHunziker.com.
I love that. And that's actually the perfect way to do it. You don't need to, like, if you see someone on the side of the road, don't yell at them like you're an idiot.
You're not going to win.
Never going to win. Be like,
Need a
here,
mask?
do you have, like, do you need one? Is there anything that I can do to help you? Like, I hope you have a great day. And it's like,
Can I tell you a really great example of that happened to me the other day? And I literally complimented the woman when I saw her afterwards.
yeah.
We were at the grocery store, and the grocery store is one of those you park underneath it, but there's an up. So you're in the
Yeah,
store
yeah.
and you got to take the elevator down. And so we're both at the elevator, and it's coming up, and we can see it, and we're both like putting our things. She had her on, but I was like, adjusting a little bit, making sure we're all tight to get in the little
Yeah.
box. You know what I mean? And she said, "Do you want to take this one, and I'll wait for the next one?" And I said, "No, you take it, but thank you so much for letting me know that you wanted to go alone. You did that absolutely perfectly,
That is a
and I
subtle-
salute you,
yeah.
and I love it, and and no problem. Please go." It was 30 seconds it was probably 15 seconds that I waited, but the way she did it was just like you said, like
It's a
just
nice touch with
offer.
you. Yeah.
It's just a different way. She got exactly what she wanted,
Yeah.
and by the way, she made a freaking friend out of it. You know what I mean?
Exactly. You guys are forever bonded.
I didn't mean that, but you know my point.
I know. It's sweet, though.
It was so quick that she was still
Yeah,
pushing
yeah.
her cart to the car when I got down and was walking to mine, and I passed her, and I was like, "Props again, that was
Yeah.
awesome. Way to be great. Stay
Exactly.
healthy, the whole thing."
No, that's nice. It's like a little bit of kindness goes a long way, especially now.
You want to talk about cars just for a second?
Yeah. Can really fast. How's Nicole?
She's good.
Yeah.
She's on assignment. I forgot to mention.
Oh, okay. Nice.
You'll
I
see
was
her
like,
after
wait, I
the
haven't seen her. I miss her.
show. She's here the whole time.
Oh,
You missed her.
perfect.
But cars wise,
Yeah.
do you have a Porsche yet?
I do not.
Yeah, I knew the answer to that. But say someday you do. Has your what would it be now? How's that? If you could, your dream Porsche, and I'm going to get it someday, and I'm going to work towards it, and whatever. You're a hard worker in general, and I know that someday you'll get one. I don't think you're going to wait for your dad's. I have a feeling
Yeah,
you'll do
definitely
something
not.
on your own before that.
Yeah. I think I really think I want a 912. I've wanted one for a very long time. I'm sticking to it. I love the Porsche. I love the 912 community.
That was your
as a
answer last
whole.
time, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Good for you.
ever since like really I began to really be involved and love the Porsche community. It was with a 912 in mind. Like I love 356s. I think long term, like with more resources and everything available and hopefully time to be invested in it, I'd love
the
to.
someday plan.
Yeah, the someday plan, I think, because Claire really likes 356s as
Yeah.
well.
You can put me on that list too. The someday for sure, 356 coupe all the way.
Yeah, that would definitely. But I think it's just like
But I want like a Patrick Long car, one that's not pretty. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
One-
yeah,
I
totally.
shouldn't say that, but one that's not pristine.
like Wester.
Yeah.
that, I think's amazing.
Yeah.
No,
That
I
just-
totally
you can
agree.
just scream it.
Yeah, I think a 912 just it's so happy. It's got such a unique story to it.
Yeah. Would you keep it as is, or would you like Bentonify? Like the Bahammer, like Kevin Lynch's Bahammer, or would you go
Ooh.
that? Would you go that
You know,
route?
I don't think I would take it to the degree that Kevin did, which I mean the Bahammer's amazing. I'd probably keep it more on the stock side, but I would probably put like a twin spark 1.7
Okay,
from
little
Benton,
bit.
just like to have a little
Sure.
bit of pep.
Absolutely.
for
And
that.
response, a little responsiveness.
Exactly. But like have kind of a mix with maybe some steelies that I can swap on occasion with like a roof rack. So that way I can just
Dress it
like,
up.
Yeah, exactly. Dress it up, dress it down.
You want the playset. You want the Porsche playset.
Yeah, I definitely.
Absolutely.
Because like nothing would be better. Every time when I drive over to like Cars and Coffee or just like going to and from the hospital, like I realize like again like how time is so limited, and you really want to enjoy every moment of that. And there'd be nothing better. Just like me, Claire, and Ollie just like sitting together, just like in a little car, just like putting to and from the hospital in it.
I can totally see that. I can also see you guys doing road trips, like photo trips. I mean, that,
Oh yeah, we would drive it. I would drive that thing until it fell apart, and then rebuild it and drive it some more. That would be
that's the right answer, by the way. I
That'd
mean,
be
at
the
least
goal.
in my book.
Yeah. They're meant to be enjoyed. Every little paint chip on the hood as you're going through, that's a testament to a good time, or a fun rally.
I simply adore looking at them, but driving them is where it's at for me, you know? And I love
Totally.
standing around parking lots and having coffee and looking at the cars. I mean, we do it nonstop.
Oh, yeah.
But something about being on the road and pedal down.
Yeah.
We're so lucky where we live. I mean, what's
Seriously.
it like for you now being back here? Have you gone out to the driving roads too much? Or have you not had that much time? I know Santa Barbara, but I mean,
Yeah.
like locally here, the Crest or Malibu.
I haven't gone really locally yet. Yesterday when I went up to Santa Barbara, it was actually to see a friend who's a 912 owner out there. I saw two different 912 owners. I saw my friend Colin, who has an awesome 67 912, the red one, and then my friend Craig, who has a Cocoa Brown 912 that are amazing. And the thing was, before when Luftgekühlt was set to happen, before it officially got canceled, which is heartbreaking, but the right decision. Before it got canceled for the first time that it was going to happen, like in late June or late May, originally I was going to be flying out to Santa Barbara, was the plan, to go with my friend and his 912 and drive cross country to North Carolina. So we were going to have like a full week together doing like the Valkyrie run that was planned for everything.
Yeah.
So we were super excited, and then obviously that didn't happen.
Oh, that's such a bummer.
And so at the very least, though, I ended up going up to see him yesterday, and we drove kind of around together through the hills.
That's cool.
Which was fun. And we took it. The car was actually originally owned by a UCSB alum, and the car had been around Santa Barbara. And so, like, being a UCSB alum myself, we took the car on campus yesterday and kind of shot it around campus at different locations.
Oh, that's because you know it so well. You know where to
Yeah,
park
yeah,
it. Oh, that's
exactly.
great.
Took it to like old stomping grounds, took it to Freebirds, and just kind of had like a fun drive together. But it just like, it reminded us of what we could have done for our trip, but like what we'll do in 2021
Yeah.
is the plan.
Hopefully.
Yeah, exactly. That's the goal.
Do you
All good
see?
things.
I don't want to. I'm not asking
I
you to
know.
make any prediction, but do you see? You're not probably looking at it that closely, so I'll just ask you. Throw a number out there. When do you think we're out of this?
Man, yeah. I don't
No.
even have a good number to give because it's just
I don't think it's 6 or 8 or even 18 months, or 6 or 12 or 18. I think it's longer. I don't think this goes away. I don't think a vaccine fixes it. I think it's just. I think
Yeah.
this is the new norm, and I hate to say that.
Yeah.
I hate to agree with it. I hate to buy into that reality, but I don't see it.
no, it's true. I mean,
And I don't
even-
think the election's going to change the world like some people think it is.
Yeah, even with a vaccine, it's true. It's basically going to be a similar thing how the flu is. Like every year, it's gonna. I mean, I know people compare, and there's an issue.
So
with
there may be
comparison,
like
but
mask season. It could be in the future, where
It
like
could be, yeah.
Yeah.
Or maybe people are just more conscious. I mean, in Asia, that's been a long-standing thing. When people are sick, they put a mask on, not because they're scared necessarily of everyone else, but as a courtesy when
Yeah.
they themselves are sick.
I remember when us
Uh,
Americans used to make fun of them on the plane or whatever.
sure.
And it's like, guess what?
Yeah, you guys were right.
They've been there. Yeah,
Yeah.
been there, done that.
Yeah. So I think I think now it's definitely going to enter the consciousness.
Do you think population plays a role in the natural disease formation of the planet? I don't know how these things actually work, but assuming
Yeah.
nothing came from a lab and there's not anything kind of
Yeah, it
no
definitely
conspiracy theories, just assuming this came from plants or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, it's almost like The Happening or something.
I mean, if you think about how quickly something like that mutates, I mean, you go even to like HIV. It
Yeah, good
mutates
example.
so quickly that even our best stuff, we cannot eradicate it. It's present in the population. It circulates. You can affect behavior, and that's all the things that we've tried to do. For coronavirus being like respiratory with droplets, like you basically you can't change the population in that way, but it's mutating so quickly that it's the same with the flu.
Yeah.
Every year we come out with different strains using H's and N's when we like categorize how we're going to do it, and they're anticipating this 9 months in advance, looking at how the virus is mutating in the southern hemisphere, anticipating what it's going to be like in the northern hemisphere.
So they're always looking at other.
So they're always
areas.
trying to anticipate it, and sometimes it's really successful, and people will, like the vaccine will be effective. Sometimes it's not. So I think it's going to be kind of a similar thing that we're going to be experiencing with coronavirus. That we're trying to anticipate where it's going to be within like the next 9, 12, 18 months, and you're trying to jump ahead, get everything to actually ramp up production, and hoping from there that it actually does its job and you get some sense of herd immunity.
Or
by
at,
people
at the very
using it.
least, compartmentalization, where like you shut down where it's going to be ahead of before it gets there, kind of thing.
Yeah. And who knows?
Interesting.
Hopefully, we'll even build enough capacity. People talk about contact tracing and like that number that we need to really get to that point that you can contain it.
Yeah.
And we're not even close to that yet because that just takes a huge amount of resources and manpower to actually do. But hopefully we'll get to a point that the instant someone comes down with it, they'll be forthright, share where they've been for the past several days with no judgment, and then that team of contact tracers can kind of go ahead and isolate. It's going to be such a pain, but that's kind of what is needed to be able to kind of slow it down.
Wow, it's great that you can see that far into the future based on your experience from the past. I mean, that's really great because you helped me see a different path that I didn't see previously.
I think it's like I'm going through all Sherlock Holmes chronologically, reading them.
Oh, wow.
This is so fun. But it's like
the books, the original books?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
wow, that's so cool.
Because Conan Doyle, I mean, like talk about like physicians and everything. Like Sherlock Holmes was I don't know if we've talked about this before, but like
I have a connection as well, but it's probably not like yours. So I'd rather hear yours.
the random fact is about Sherlock Holmes is that he was actually modeled after Dr. Joseph Bell, who was a physician. I think I told you about.
Yeah,
this.
but I didn't know who Bell was until you told me.
And
But
Bell was the Taco Bell guy.
No.
Yeah.
You're kidding.
Bell is related to like the founder of Taco Bell.
Bong.
I know.
Wow.
So you can always think of Sherlock Holmes when you get that cheesy Gordita Crunch.
For me, being a Connecticut kid, there was a tourist attraction that you could go to. It's owned by the state now, but it was a private estate. It's called Gillette Castle. It's crazy that, again, talked about this on the Smoking Tire yesterday too. Just randomly came up because he's from the same era.
Yeah.
Same area. And the same era. Anyway, it was built by an actor by the name of William Gillette. William Gillette was made famous by playing the role of Sherlock Holmes. This was on stage. It was before film and stuff.
Yeah.
It was when they would literally tour productions around, and that was kind of like how you would see stories.
Oh wow.
But his name was William Gillette, and there's this beautiful castle on the Connecticut River, and there's just tons of Sherlock Holmes stuff all over it because of that.
That's awesome.
But that's the closest.
I like that. No, I like that. And it's true. Like when you
And the stories are brilliant. I mean, they're very, very intelligent writing.
Yeah, because like the whole idea behind it is that Sherlock was so well read on history that nothing was really new to him. It was all kind of a variant on something that had already happened. Therefore, he could anticipate.
That's why everything
what
he was ahead
happening.
of Watson and everybody else.
Yeah. Exactly.
Wow, that's so cool. You're so
It's
smart.
fun.
You're
No.
so smart.
Oh, you give me way too much credit.
No, I
Trust
can't.
me, you
I'm
really
not
do.
saying I'm so smart, but maybe we're just into weird things and they cross paths in the
like that,
same
yeah.
places.
That's why we're here together.
Maybe.
We're on that same plane here.
Oh, thanks, buddy.
you.
It's probably time to wrap it up, but I
Yeah.
should probably mention very quickly our friends over at St. Clair Insurance.
Absolutely.
They're a new sponsor over here, and I'm going to say to you, you know,
My wife's name is Claire, so this is perfect.
that's right, and she's a saint.
She absolutely is.
Oh, this is adorable. I'm going to say to you, you know, the difference between men and boys is the coverage for their toys, Andrew. What do I mean by that?
Please tell me what you mean by that.
Do you have a classic car, or anyone in your family have a classic car?
Yes. Why, in fact, my dad does.
I hope he has it insured. If so, if it's somebody like Haggerty or probably almost any other brand, I don't want to list them all, I would highly recommend he or anyone like that would go to St. Clair Insurance. You go to stclairinsurance.com, which is, or excuse me, I'm going to do this right. We're gonna it's actually taking more time on the thing, and eventually you're all going to remember St. Clair Insurance, and you're all going to go to coverage for your toys. Here's my problem. I'm holding the wrong card. St. Clair Insurance. You know the difference between men and boys is the coverage for their toys. St. Clair Insurance. Coverage for your toys. And that's coverageforyourtoys.com. St. Clair Insurance. I don't know. You may actually even know this guy. Jeff St. Clair is he's a Porsche guy. He's got a very, very cool 911. But he does all the Targa Bajas and all those, like Targa Californias. He does all those as well.
Really?
And he sponsors them sometime as well through his company. And he's just a really cool guy, and we're very happy to be doing these with him.
That's
so
awesome.
eventually I'll get very good at doing them, but right now we're just making a mess and making sure everybody remembers St. Clair Insurance and coverageforyourtoys.com.
I love it. When I find my 912, I am going to St. Clair Insurance.
Yeah, and he's like one of the top, he gets the award for being like in the top 20 Haggerty people
That's
every
awesome.
year. So it's
Nice.
a good stuff. And it's not just cars, it's classic cars, but it's not just classic cars. You can do obviously anything. Your RV, your boat, your motorcycle, whatever. Your home, your business, all that stuff.
Oh,
People who sell insurance tend to sell all the insurances. I think
Cover
of
all the bases.
Ned Ryerson from the Ned Ryerson. What's that? Groundhog Day. Wonderful film. Just tries to sell everything. So anyway, that's my shout out to St. Clair Insurance, and please give your love. My love. I'm drunk. Is it? Forget it.
this is COVID era.
Oh my goodness! Please give my love to the Florins. Both
definitely.
I met your mom finally too. That was the
Yeah.
first time
Yeah, the
that
whole clan
same
was
day.
there.
But yeah, to the whole family, we love them. We love them, and we love you.
Send Nicole my love to you.
You'll see her in a few
Claire
minutes.
was smitten. Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's on assignment, but she's not too far.
Good.
It's local assignment.
Awesome.
I love you. Let's make this regular. Am I going to see you this weekend or anything?
That's the plan. Yeah, we'll be coming.
To
coming up.
what? Malibu. Mm-hmm. Awesome.
Yeah.
You got to come to Breakfast Club someday. You still haven't made it,
I
right?
know. I came once
You
because I
did?
remember seeing Damon. Because I remember having breakfast with you guys.
Okay.
That I think there was one time.
All right, then I'll get off your
a
case
long
as long
time
as you've
ago.
been.
But I do want to go back up there. I would love.
It's just donuts and distancing now. That's what we're calling it. It's not. It's nothing official. It's just we bring up
Same.
Dunkin' Donuts, coffee, and donuts,
But
and
it's such a beautiful drive.
yeah, it is. It's really fun though. Everybody hangs out, and
Yeah.
we kind of sit in like a wide circle that moves as the sun does,
I
like
like
in
that.
the parking lot. It's very weird, kumbayage. Anyway, it's a good
That
time.
sounds amazing.
That's it. Tomorrow is the Breakfast Club, the unofficial Breakfast Club, and Sunday we'll be in Malibu Kitchen, and that's what we have. Andrew Florin, I love you, brother.
Love you too.
Thank you so much for being
Jay.
here.
So great to see you.
We love you at home. Please love one another. Thanks for a great week. And thanks again to Zach and Matt Farah from the Smoking Tire. We've been building their studio. Everything is great. They're very happy. Almost done with the set design, but the production is up and,
cool.
and shows are being produced out of WCCS. So it's very exciting. But thank you to Matt and Zach for having me on the podcast yesterday. It was really exciting for me. It's a big deal.
That's really cool.
It is. I know other people may not care, but it was a very big deal to me, so I appreciate it. Love you at home. Have a great night.
So cool.
This is the kumbaya moment.
I love it. Yeah.
Shout out to TLG.
Oh yeah. How was it?